This news broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live and all our social media platforms displayed on the screen for updates. And now the news in detail. After visiting the Kigali Genocide Memorial in Rwanda, President Muhammadu Buhari has appealed to Nigerians to be tolerant of one another and embrace peace. The president, who toured the permanent exhibitions at the memorial site and laid a wreath at the mass graves where more than 250,000 victims of the genocide were buried, told journalists that the lessons from his visit were the need for Nigerians to continue to be tolerant of one another and for the nation to preserve its own historical antecedents from the Nigerian Civil War 1967 to 1970. The president also paid tribute to the memory of the victims and prayed for healing for the survivors. President Buhari is in Kigali, Rwanda, to participate in the 26th Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, where he is expected to hold bilateral talks with the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, and Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Boris Johnson, on Thursday, while attending the official opening of CHOGM on Friday, followed by high-level meetings of heads of state and government. Still on the sidelines of the 26th edition of CHOGM, President Muhammadu Buhari has met with Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness, lauding the relations between both countries and requesting for sustenance, particularly in economic and political fronts. The Prime Minister, Holness, notes that Nigeria has been very supportive of Jamaica, with the two countries having commercial agreements in place, referring to a recent opinion article written by President Buhari and published in international newspapers. Holness says he agrees that the Commonwealth could be more than just a club of friends who have affinity with the United Kingdom and, quote, become an economic powerhouse. All the elements are there: common language, large market, and many others. It can become a serious economic force, end of quote. Determined to significantly improve the human development indices in West Africa, the National Economic Council, chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, is hosting an international forum to launch the Integrated Regional Human Capital Development Strategy. The conference, scheduled for Abuja, will have in attendance leaders from the public and private sectors across the ECOWAS sub-region, reviewing strategies on human capital development, while the launch of the integrated strategy document will be the high point of the event. Ahead of Thursday's forum, Vice President Osinbajo is urging improved cooperation among West African countries to address the issues of healthcare access and out-of-school children, among other human development indices. The Vice President stated this when he received the Prime Minister of Guinea-Bissau, Nuno Gomes Nabiam, on a courtesy visit to the presidential villa, Abuja. The Prime Minister is visiting Nigeria to attend the meeting on ECOWAS Integrated Regional Human Capital Development. Extolling the leadership qualities of President Muhammadu Buhari and Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, the Prime Minister says the President of Nigeria and Vice President are doing what inspires his country. The Prime Minister, who is expected to speak at the conference on Friday, 24th June, also extends the greetings and message of President Mbalo, noting that the President of Guinea-Bissau and the Office of the Prime Minister will always work to improve relations between both countries. The House of Representatives has passed a resolution to conduct an investigation on the utilization of ecological funds by benefiting ministries, departments, and agencies of government from 2010 to 2022. This is coming on the heels of allegations that beneficiaries of the fund have ignored efforts to make them accountable. The motion from Representative Femi Bamishile noted that the fund is an intervention of the federal government to address the various ecological challenges across the country. The federal, state, local government and federal capital territory, including National Emergency Management Agency, the National Agency for the Great Green Wall, Northeast Development Commission and the National Agricultural Land Development Agency will receive money from the fund through the Federal Allocation Committee. Meanwhile, the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, says the ruling party is working around the clock to stem the tide of defection at the National Assembly. This was made known to journalists after a closed-door meeting with the APC caucus in the Senate. John Yaku was there for NTA News.
The spate of senators defecting from the APC to other political parties in the past 2 weeks is the reason why the national chairman is here. He describes the development as unfortunate. Senator Abdullah Adamu says it is the order in the political cycle across the country, but only being noticed in APC because it is the ruling party.
No reasonable person, no responsible leader will not worry losing one member, not talk of 2 or 3. At the moment, we know we are faced with the stark reality of their problems. And we have committed with my colleagues in the National Working Committee to face the problems squarely and see the problems that are solvable, we will solve them by the grace of God.
Adamu's visit is expected to tame the trend. In Abuja, John Yaku, NTA News.
And still on the APC, the national chairman of the party says Abdullahi Adamu says the party, its presidential candidate and stakeholders are making concerted efforts to produce a vice presidential candidate for the party. During an interview with NTA's political correspondent Salihu Gwanara, the chairman cleared the air on the issue of the Yobe North senatorial candidature.
It is 3 months since the former Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Adamu took charge of the affairs of the governing party, the All Progressives Congress. His team is in the saddle of the ruling party as the nation prepares for another general election. Conscious of this, the National Executive Committee is giving the team its full support to ensure a smooth running administration.
And the party is standing shoulder to shoulder with him in what he is trying to do to arrive at some kind of consensus person that will be acceptable by the united leadership of the party and the followers of the party. And we only plead for the lovers of our party to exercise some more patience and wait for the unveiling of the vice presidential candidate of the APC.
On the knotty issue from Yobe North, he said Senate President Ahmad Lawan has enjoyed the mandate of his people as a senatorial candidate through a process the party supervised.
Yes, he contested for the president, and there's no law that says because he contested for the president, he cannot, if there is a window, contest for another office. The Constitution allows him to do so. The Electoral Act allows him to do so.
In Abuja, Salihu Gwanara, NTA News.
The Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, is urging the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to evaluate its performance in the June 18 Ekiti governorship election with a view to improving the forthcoming Osun State governorship election. Timothy Yusuf reports that the council gave the advice after a post-mortem meeting in Abuja.
With the June 18 Ekiti governorship election over, IPAC is of the opinion that some of the flaws noticed in the poll, ranging from alleged vote trading, voter apathy, as well as electronic hitches, can all be addressed and improved upon in subsequent elections.
Election is the beauty of democracy. The ballot is sacrosanct and should not be traded on for any reason or for no reason whatsoever.
The need for the National Assembly to expedite action on the Electoral Offences Commission Bill and presidential assent to it before the 2023 general election is observed by IPAC to be a necessary tool towards improving on the nation's electoral process.
Council urges aggrieved candidates and their political parties to approach the Ekiti State governorship election petition tribunal for redress and never resort to self-help, as we collectively should consolidate our emerging democracy.
Arrest and prosecution of electoral offenders are considered by IPAC as the way to go towards restoring sanity in the nation's democratic journey. Timothy Yusuf, NT News.
Thank you, Timothy. Now, for more on Nationwide, let's join Hinginu, who is standing by in Lagos. Over to you, Hinginu.
Thank you, Naja'atu. Alleviating the plight of widows require deliberate policies that will fast-track the needed support and solutions to their financial independence. Amaka Owo reports.
48-year-old Blessing Abba is a caterer and a home management expert who has been a widow in the last 8 years.
His pictures are there to give us sweet memories. I said, do you remember when your dad took this picture? Okay, we remember all these things and we are happy. And we try to be positive. When there's, maybe you are going, things are tough in the house, you don't squeeze your face, you don't make it a big deal. If you really want to help a widow, get her a good job.
And so is same for 33-year-old Tama Kenneth, a fashion designer who since 2 years after her husband's death pushed herself against all odds and beyond limits to sustain her family.
It's not only that shop that I have, I also do other things. I do house cleaning. Whenever you want somebody that will maintain your house, clean the house, I used to go there, I will clean, they will pay me.
Stories from these women go to buttress the saying that a woman's best protection is a little money of her own. Her financial freedom therefore becomes mandatory when she lacks the needed marital support to pull through life's challenges.
How are you going to cope? And your children are in school. You know you will be down. Their school fees, their feeding, and so many things. But if you are a working class, you have your own money. At least you will feel the pain of those emotional, but financially you are strong.
Some persons who are concerned with providing volunteer assistance say there is need for continuous institutional structure to address the financial gaps, psychological, cultural, and traditional deprivation faced by widows.
We have seen some occasion where some of the family members take their possessions from them, they are thrown out from the family.
There should be a structure set up by the government to look specifically into the needs of these women who are not just excluded but have greater needs.
It is a view of many that lives-changing experiences faced by women who become widows are often traumatizing with multiple consequences. However, collaborative support for them and their children will provide succor for them and their families for a better society. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
Talking aviation now, the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN, one of the key drivers of the nation's aviation industry, is expanding its tentacles with a partnership with Miami-Dade County. The move will boost trade, tourism, and transportation in the country.
Millions of miles apart, with different cultures and terrains, Nigeria and Miami-Dade County have found common interest in the aviation space. The numerous potentials in the Nigerian aviation sector attracted key players from Miami-Dade County. This mind-rubbing meeting between experts from the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria and a delegation from Miami-Dade County, the most populous county in the state of Florida, is all about collaboration.
FAN has in a number of ways explored non-aeronautical modes of revenue generation and is consistently seeking new avenues for expansion of instead of depending mainly on aeronautical sources of revenue.
The collaboration is for us to reciprocate in growing our own business opportunity here, especially in the aviation industry.
Beyond the airports, impact of this partnership is expected to be felt in the tourism and hospitality sectors, which will boost economies of both parties.
We are here to continue to build on the friendship and to foster even closer ties between our international trade communities and to foster cultural exchanges and educational exchanges as well. Hopefully within the next week, months, or year, we'll be able to have a direct flight from Nigeria, perhaps Lagos or Abuja, to the United States, something that is exceptionally needed.
Intentions have been made known, ideas exchanged, some agreements reached. Nigerians are eagerly awaiting implementation.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Benin is our next stop after this break.
The busy ancient city of Onitsha. It's a commercial hub with millions of commuters seamlessly linking other states daily for business, leisure, and other purposes. To upscale its road network, the construction of a 1.6-kilometer long second Niger Bridge, including a 10.3-kilometer highway furnished with other infrastructure, has been in motion by the federal government. This project will ease congestion on the existing 56-year-old Onitsha Bridge and boost the economic capacity of the state as it easily connects to other parts of the country. The completion of the world-class second Niger Bridge Onitsha will be one of the many proud moments of the state, its people, Nigerians, and foreign investors. Onitsha, which hosts the largest market in Africa, is geared up to boast of an impressive road network. Once again, these moments are made alive by the federal government, and it is deserving of all the applause.
Harmony of biodiversity destroyed, birthing climate crisis and crime phases.
Dicey situation indeed, yet we carry on like a bull in a china shop.
On environment matters, we take the bull by the horns, comb the nooks and cranny of Nigeria.
Asking tough questions,
examining challenges and opportunities,
giving human face to the science, facts, facts, and global agreements. It's a call for action. Don't miss it.
Join award-winning environmental journalist Jennifer Igwe and other NTA Eco reporters for Environment Matters.
The broadcast media ecosystem is dynamic and requires continuous training for practitioners to perform optimally. NTA Television College, Jos, invites relevant officers to the following specially packaged training programs. Intermediate Online News Reporting Skills, date 13th July to 5th August 2022, 4 weeks. Sports Coverage and Reporting Skills in the Mass Media, date 13th July to 22nd July 2022, 2 weeks. Basic Camera Operation Techniques, date 1st August to 26th August 2022, 4 weeks. Advanced Broadcast Accounting and Auditing, date 15th August to 9th September 2022, 4 weeks. Transmitter Operations and Maintenance, date 22nd August to 26th August 2022, 1 week. Workforce Intelligence, Key to Organizational Effectiveness and Efficiency, date 5th September to 16th September 2022, 2 weeks. The course fee for 1 week courses is 100,000 naira per participant. The fee for 2 weeks courses is 150,000 naira, while the course fee for 4 weeks courses is 180,000 naira only, accommodation inclusive. The venue for all courses is the serene and secure environment of NTA Television College near Old Government House, Rayfield, Jos. For more inquiries, please call 0803-079-5335 or 0806-9809-807. NTA TV College, Jos, training you to be the best you want to be.
For staying on Nationwide, this is Benin. Here, Oba of Benin, His Royal Majesty Ewa II, has commended the federal government for setting up a production center for the enhanced electronic passport in Benin City. The Oba, who gave the commendation when he received the Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, expressed hope that the new production center will reduce difficulties faced by applicants in Edo and Delta states. Ifoma Ukafo reports.
His Royal Majesty Ewa II assured the Minister of the Palace support and offered his royal prayers to President Muhammadu Buhari's led development strides in Edo State.
What this president did for the king. People rephrase that not just the way he has been doing for me personally, he has been doing for the Lord he happens for his family.
The minister noted that Edo State ranks second among states with highest demand for international passports after Lagos, that 10,000 booklets of the passports are ready in the new production center in Benin, which would help solve the issue of delay in issuance of the passports. He advised Nigerians to desist from patronizing what he described as middlemen. In Benin, Ifoma Ukafo, NTA News.
Promoting professionalism, improving the operational capacity of Army infrastructure across the country remain priorities. Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, disclosed this while inaugurating projects at some military formations in Edo State. Paul Omukago reports.
The inauguration of the projects at 4 Brigade Ekawan Barracks, Benin City, by the Chief of Army Staff is in line with plans to build more structures while also maintaining existing ones. He instructed the command to draw up a sustainable maintenance plan for the projects, which includes Soldiers Club, Regimental Sergeant Major residence, married and single officers' quarters.
Administration is one of the key pillars of my command philosophy, and now it includes good accommodation and living quarters for the personnel, and that's what you have seen us do. And all across the army also, we are taking the drive everywhere to improve, the well-being, the administration of the personnel, and the overall operational effectiveness of the troops.
With the stride I've seen the Chief of Army Staff taking, if it is sustained, it's just a matter of years. When you enter our barracks, you will not see one dilapidated structure.
The brigade has witnessed unprecedented renovation and construction works as part of the Chief of Army Staff's attempt to further address across board the challenges of accommodation and social amenity.
The Chief of Army Staff also visited Auchi, where he spoke on the need for innovative and more proactive approach in production, handling and maintenance of military equipment at a seminar organized by the Nigerian Army School of Electrical and Mechanical Engineering. In Benin, Paul Omukago, NTA News.
That's it here. Najatu in Abuja has more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Agatha, and we'll continue with widowhood. The ordeal of widowhood, especially the pain or trauma faced by this group of persons, is in focus as Nigeria joins the rest of the world to observe International Widows' Day. Our correspondent Ngozi Tekniko looks at efforts being made to change the narrative of painful tales of widowhood, which are linked to cultural or traditional norms.
Death is inevitable and comes with pains and trauma for loved ones of the deceased. This is more traumatic for women who turn widows due to the death of their husbands. The tales of widowhood are that of rejection, neglect, stigmatization, and harmful practices, where the bereaved in some cultures are labeled killers and forced to drink water used to wash the cups to prove their innocence.
Then after she's accused of killing her husband, then there has tussles between her inheritance. Usually they have issues with sexual gender-based violence. All of them are seen as a sex tool.
Going by global statistics, there are 258 million widows, out of which Nigeria has over 8 million. The figure is envisaged to increase due to cases of insecurity and diseases. This widow, Rachel, shares her experience.
I do mama put by then, wake 3 o'clock to set fire before I finish cooking, now start hawking because I passed through a lot. My children for a good 5 years, none of them went to school. They are at home, no school fees.
Poverty has been identified as a major challenge faced by widows, which non-governmental organizations are complementing government efforts through empowerment programs. Interestingly, there are stringent sanctions to protect the rights of widows, especially with the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, VAP.
Encourage them to draft a will because nobody knows tomorrow. And in that will, he will identify all his properties. He will equally give directives of how those properties will be shared.
So before you contemplate death, it is not allowed for you to delay that action. Apportion a particular part of the property to him or her.
As the world marks yet another International Widows' Day, stakeholders are advocating for more empowerments in addressing the plights of widows. In Abuja, Ngozi Technical, NTA News.
Thank you, Ngozi. And joining us to speak further on World Widows Day is the National Coordinator, Rock of Ages Widows Foundation, Ignatius Newman. You're welcome to our studio.
Thank you, man.
Now, as someone who works directly with widows, listening to Ngozi's report, she identified poverty as one of the factors, one of the known factors associated with widowhood. As an expert who works with widows, what, in your opinion, what from your observation is responsible for this, and what is government and private foundations such as yours doing to alleviate their plight?
First of all, the most important thing is that the man should carry the wife along. There are some men who say they have the money, but their wife don't know about their investment. Some of them, they don't even know, their wife don't even know the assets they have. They don't even know the money they have. They don't even know the accounts, the money they have in the bank. And as soon as when these things happens, you discover the woman is just left out. The first thing we always want to let people know is that, look, you should carry your wife along in the process of knowing your investment, knowing what you have, and then making her also to be a next of kin in most of the things you have. Because some cases we have discovered that there are some men, as soon as they die in their culture, because this is a various, we have discovered so many people in different cultures have the many beliefs on some areas. Just like our guest speaker was speaking today, he said in their own culture, when the man dies, they remove the 2 teeth on the front of the woman on the feet. So when the woman laugh or smile, the moment you see that the 2 teeth were not there, you'll now be able to know that this woman is a widow. Now some, they may not have the privilege of coming into the house. There are some, when the husband die, from that moment the man give up. The woman will not return to the house till after a certain period of months of mourning. By the time she will come back, most of the things the man left behind will be no more. So if the woman, number one, is carried along as the man is making his progress or doing his work. Number two is that you give the girl child education. You discover a majority of these people that are left in this abject poverty, or poverty meets them when their husband die, they don't have education. Most of them, even those that have the education, they don't have any skill acquisition. Some of them are just kept in the house as a housewife, which is not. And this is where we now say, look, men, carry your wife along. If you are getting married, educate the child. Parents, educate the girl child. So because if she didn't meet it, she will meet it somewhere. And in the process, the education or whatever qualification she has helps her to put food on her table, even when it appears that nothing is around her.
Now, when it comes to carrying the wife along, one of the ways of doing that is writing a will. But you find in our society, many people are reluctant to leave a will. What is your foundation doing to educate?
We do a little. We try to educate the one when we are talking to the woman, you talk to the man, because number one, the man will go. One day, you don't avoid it. It's something that is going to make. So, if you love your wife and you love your children and you don't want them to suffer, get these things prepared. Are you getting me? Write the will. Now, you did your marriage with any of the reason you did your marriage. Let the woman be carried along. Don't keep her out. If you keep her off, the moment you are not there, the woman is left to be on her own.
And finally, you're a man, but you're taking up the cause of a widow. Yeah. Why is that, of widows rather?
Well, I shared it with them that while my mom was alive, before she passed on, she was helping a widow woman I didn't know. But when she passed on, I met a woman that mourned her more than 2-3 months. I went to the woman and said, "What is all this for?" And the woman said to me, now began to show me the things the woman mom was doing to her. And I said to her, "What my mom used to be to you, I will be." So I didn't know even when I eventually made that vow in one of the experiences I had in life. And I told God, if you establish me, I'm going to find the cause of the widows. And to the glory of God, today, I'm glad I'm doing that.
Thank you very much for what your organization is doing for these widows.
Thank you very much.
I've been speaking with Ignatius Newman, the founder, the national coordinator of Rock of Ages Widows Foundation. The Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, James Lalu, has inaugurated a secretariat to coordinate the implementation of the Commission's 5-year strategic plan and provide adequate data for the community of people living with disability in accordance with international standards. Gufan Ugwani reports.
The committee.
This union of the World Bank, Commonwealth and other development partners, including Sight Savers, is to form the Nigerian Disabilities Partners Group, NDPG, to provide technical materials and financial support to the Commission.
Ensure that whatever is being done, to support persons with disabilities across various sectors are documented and harmonized so that we avoid duplication, we avoid waste of resources.
For the Executive Secretary of the Commission, James Lalu, the Secretariat will ensure an up-to-date data of what is happening in the disability community, number of beneficiaries and impact of intervention programs on persons with disabilities.
To provide for beneficiaries to fill up with the 10% opportunity and they empower currently being onboarded now. The Empower Batch C Stream 2, we are working on that area. A lot of other aspects are being made. So mobilization and then harmonization of all intervention and disability.
This union is expected to promote the adoption of best practices in meeting the needs of persons with disabilities in Nigeria. In Abuja, Gufan Ogwani, NTA News.
The Ondo State Executive Council has constituted a 5-man committee to judiciously and transparently manage the funds contributed by donors for alleviating the pains of the June 5 Owo gun attack victims and their families. The State Commissioner for Finance, Wale Akinterinwa, briefed journalists after the State Exercise Council meeting. Abiola Ario reports.
The chairman of the committee is the Commissioner for Finance, Wale Akinterinwa, who listed other members of the committee to include the Special Advisor to the Governor on Union Matters and Special Duties, Commissioner for Health, Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, and the Parish Priest of St. Francis Catholic Church, Owaluwa Owo.
The council at the meeting set up a 5-man committee to judiciously and transparently manage the funds contributed by donors exclusively towards alleviating the pains of the affected worshippers and their families. The council also approved that the governor shall, as a matter of urgency, issue an executive order mandating all places of worship, event centers, shopping malls, hotels, and other public places where significant number of people gather to install functional closed-circuit television equipment and provide adequate private security personnel within and around their premises.
He charged the public to channel further contributions and offers of support to the victims and family members through the Catholic Diocese of Ondo or the state government to ensure proper accountability and transparency. In Akure, Abiola Rio, NTA News.
This is Nationwide, and for more updates, Zenret is in Jos.
To Jos. Stakeholders in the fight against drug abuse say they will sustain sensitization until the cases of abuse and illicit trafficking are reduced to the barest minimum. This is their position during a road walk in Jos to commemorate the week-long activities of the United Nations International Day Against Drug Abuse. Yildiz Danladi reports that the day has Addressing Drug Challenges in Health and Humanitarian Crisis as its theme.
The International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking is marked every year by the National Drug Law.
For now, we have a bright future. So if we get into drug abuse, we can spend our future.
We don't sell drink, no alcohol, no drink. Focus of drugs. We take that as like one of our priority for the safety of our passengers.
For the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the fight against drug abuse will be sustained for a better society.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, under the able leadership of the Chairman Chief Executive of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, retired. He has repositioned the agency. He has introduced a lot of innovations. He has repositioned the agency for the good people of Nigeria. We are happy for his innovations.
The commander appreciates the state government for its support and appeal for the completion of Rehabilitation and Skills Acquisition Center to ease the operation. In Jos, Yildiz Danladi, NTA News.
National Commission for Museums and Monuments says the return of artifacts from the Western world, especially Europe and the United States of America, will further dignify cultural beliefs and practices, as well as appreciate the ingenuity of the ancestors that created them. This was during the inauguration of Jos National Museum exhibition titled Treasure from Early Civilization. Farida Nelson has details.
National Museum Jos is upgraded with treasures from early civilization. The exhibition tagged Treasures from Early Civilization is unique as it attempts to illustrate the collective response of the various ethnic groups captured by the exhibition to the challenge of their physical environment. The works address life cycle and a comprehensive system of belief of the people as the exhibition seeks to explore the traditional and rich cultural expression of Nigerians in areas of agriculture, trade and commerce, warfare, power and authority, music and dance, mask and masquerade performances, as well as beauty of social institutions.
I assure you that we are going to continue to improve on our museums so that we will make our museums attractive to our audience.
This gallery upgrade will definitely be a vital means of documenting and showcasing our history and identity, while also promoting cultural interaction and integration.
The artifacts are well arranged with description that you don't need somebody to take you around to describe what they mean. So you can read and know exactly the story, the history behind every artifact.
Participants express hope that the work done will stimulate further research by scholars and museum professionals. In Jos, Farida Nelson, NTA News.
That's our contribution to Nationwide. Gabriel in Port Harcourt will bring us reports from that end after this break.
Engage your team this summer at Digitex 2022, an annual ICT creative camp and competition for young minds of ages 8 to 18. With the theme Connecting Technology, Energy and Climate. Date Saturday, August 13 to Sunday, August 21st, 2022. Venue, Top Faith International Secondary School, Mpatak, Akwa Ibom State. For registration, visit www.digitalpairs.org. For information and inquiries, call 0807-782-3307 or 0807-782-3308. For more updates, follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn at Digital Peers. Digitest is brought to you by Digital Peers International in collaboration with the Akwa Ibom State Government.
Do you run a breast or cervical cancer service? Are you a private or public laboratory, clinic or hospital that offer any of breast imaging, cervical cancer screening, HPV vaccination, or other breast or cervical cancer services? Is your service a primary, secondary, or tertiary center located in any part of Nigeria, no matter how remotely located it is? If yes to any of these questions, then subscribe to the OCI Foundation's Savvy Breast app and become accessible and visible to millions of Nigerians. It is all for free. To subscribe, just type the Savvy Breast application form on Google or go to the OCI Foundation's page on www.ocifoundation.org and search for Savvy Breast application form. Complete the form and submit, and let millions of Nigerians patronize you, all for free. Become part of the OCI Foundation's quest to tackle breast and cervical cancers in Nigeria. And join us as we rise by lifting off.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview UK channel 264, or you can download www.visiontv.co.uk, app for iOS or Android. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
Welcome to Port Harcourt Network Center. Ginger spice is regarded as a golden crop capable of adding value to the nation's economy and export rating if it is produced in a commercial scale in the southern part of Nigeria. The Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEP, is leading the initiative at a workshop for ginger farmers in Rivers State. Robinson Duatede has the details of this.
Harnessing the potentials of ginger production for exports in Rivers State is the theme of capacity building workshop designed to equip ginger farmers with required knowledge of planting ginger in the Niger Delta region. Contrary to speculations that ginger may not grow well in the Niger Delta, farmers under the National Ginger Association of Nigeria grew the crop and was amazed at not just its growth but its non-oil export value chain.
We also bring job employment to the youths. We will create wealth. It will also increase the IGR of the state.
Our mission is to create wealth, make agriculture attractive.
Apart from the long traditional and alternative medicine values of ginger, its global processing market is expected to grow at a cumulative annual growth rate of 13.4% between 2022 to 2026. Ginger production in the Niger Delta region can help increase the $1 million export Nigeria earns annually from ginger. Unstable weather conditions for planting, cost of processing and storage are some challenges farmers encounter.
So there is need to use the improved varieties of ginger, observe all the good agronomic practices that we have recommended, and at the end of the day, you have the right yield. When you have the right yield, you talk about taking over the market. You start with the domestic market and then to the export markets.
The Nigerian Export Promotion Council donated organic fertilizers worth to plant 2 acres of land to encourage farmers in the state. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Terataide, NTA News.
The federal government says it is providing durable roads that can stand the test of time for Nigerians while applying long and short-term measures to achieve set goals. This is evident in the ongoing rebuilding of alternative routes as work continues on the Calabar-Ito Federal Highway in the south-south region of the country. Utibe Ajila reports.
The road is okay. Even they always pray for those who walk this road. And eventually, the villagers, all of us, we are very happy.
This road, as God make it, is better than before.
The ongoing work at some section of the 3-kilometer stretch of Old Calabar-Ito Road is attracting praises from indigenes who describe the present state as a welcome relief from the harsh realities in the past experienced by motorists and commuters, which serves as alternative routes to different communities in Cross River State. Inspecting the project, the Zonal Director, South 1, and other members of staff of the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, Akwa Ibom State, assured the benefiting community of the federal government's resolve to provide more access roads to ameliorate their sufferings.
Major component of work done there is the retaining wall, which they have really done very well.
We've touched the critical roads, the critical federal roads in Akwa Ibom.
The team also inspected an ongoing washout project in Ibionibum, where the project manager gave an assurance that it will be delivered in 3 weeks, as about 80% of work has been achieved so far. In Uyo, Utibe Achibong, NTA News.
That will be all for now. Back to you, Najat.
Thank you, Gabrielle. We're talking education matters now. The University of Abuja is exposing undergraduates to different developmental strides of the Japanese in its sustained efforts at building the future of its students as Nigeria will benefit from molding their lives when the acquired knowledge is applied appropriately. This is via a collaboration between the University of Abuja and the Japan International Cooperation Agency JICA, the first chair on post-World War II reconstruction and economic development in Japan, lessons for Nigeria.
The University of Abuja has understood the significance to instill in our young people spirits that will enable them to succeed in life. We see around the world that such spirit is the Japanese spirit. You bring them as part of this process. They begin to translate these lessons they have learned into practicality.
We are now interested in digital transformation and also the green energy.
Our experiences, our thought, could serve as one of the unique examples for developing partner countries to explore the roadmap for development.
The university has also introduced foreign languages, one of which is Japanese, making it mandatory for students to study one and be proficient before graduation. The Association of Registrars of Nigerian Universities, ARUN, is recommending alternative approach for university unions to press home their demands rather than resorting to strikes. The association stresses that strikes, though beneficial to some extent, are becoming detrimental to the development of the university system. Emmanuel Ayemiro reports that the body of registrars is worried about how the strike by all 4 university-based unions is disrupting academic activities with grave consequences on the students' quality of education and the economy of the country.
That we should go the way of Germany, that a co-determination approach will be adopted, where one council will be established for Nigerian university system. The work councils will comprise representatives of employees and government. Then issues of conditions of service and regulation will be tackled without obstruction to academic activity.
Strike is also legitimate. Under all the laws I've mentioned, strike is a right. Importantly, The centrality of our challenge of managing industrial union, particularly indeed in the university system, is the fact that unions that ought to be partners in progress, in most situations, they are not consulted. Decisions are taken over and above their heads.
Managing trade unions and university administration in an era of uncertainty are new tasks the Association of Registrars of Nigerian Universities wants all stakeholders in the education sector to consider moving forward. The society's efforts at ridding the educational system of sexual molestation is yielding results as a 39-year-old former school teacher has been arraigned before a high court of the Federal Capital Territory, Jabi, for his alleged involvement in sexually molesting a female minor at the school where he taught. Olabode Arewa reports.
The defendant, Daniel Iroche Ada, was a teacher at Destiny Academy, Lugbe in Abuja. He was arraigned on a 5-count charge of alleged sexual assault and molestation of a 14-year-old female student of the school, name withheld because she is a minor. The incident alleged to have taken place within the school premises on 15th of April 2021 is contrary to the provisions of the Child Rights Act. Upon discovery of the incident, the school authority had gone ahead to sack the 39-year-old defendant before handing him over to the police for prosecution. When the charge was read to him at Thursday's proceedings, Daniel Iroche Ada pleaded not guilty. The defense counsel, Emmanuel Agungu, prayed for his bail, but prosecution counsel, John Ijagbemi, opposed the motion, saying the defendant was a serial offender.
We have put in facts that he jumped the bail, the administrative bail granted to him by the Commissioner of Police, FCT, Abuja. And apart from jumping the same bail, we've let the court know that he went ahead and committed other offenses.
The court adjourned the matter to July 12 for ruling on the bail application. Meanwhile, he is to be remanded at Kuje Correctional Custody until then. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
Let's join our sports desk for updates.
President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the return of Nigeria to international basketball after FIBA, Nigeria Basketball Federation, and concerned parties agreed to work towards resolving the crisis that has throttled the growth of the game in Nigeria. Permanent Secretary, Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Ismail Abubakar, while announcing the withdrawal, warned that there must be strict compliance with undertakings made during negotiations.
President Muhammadu Buhari, in order to avoid sending basketball development into a long period of suspension, when MBBF have now committed to resolution of the issues, has approved the return of Nigeria to international basketball immediately. The President has directed the Ministry of Youth and Sports to ensure the speedy implementation of the undertaking.
In tennis, Serena Williams and Ons Jabeur Thursday withdrew from the Eastbourne doubles due to a right knee injury to the Tunisian. The pair had advanced to the semi-finals of the tournament after winning their first 2 matches. Williams, 40, made her return to tennis this week after a year out following an injury and will be competing in this year's Wimbledon Championship, which serves off on Monday. And in football, a court in Argentina has ruled that the 8 medical staff accused of criminal negligence in the death of legendary football icon Diego Maradona are to stand trial for culpable homicide after being found wanting by a medical panel. If convicted, the accused might spend between 8 and 25 years in prison. Maradona died of heart attack in November 2020, aged 60. With sports updates, Chukunonsonwa Boys, NTN News.
Sports Update concludes the news on Nationwide. Thanks for watching, and do remember to keep supporting NTA's campaign against rape and rapists. I'm Naja Atutijani.